Geek Insider is very proud to present Eric Smith-Gunn, Pam Meisl-Smith, and Andrea St. Martine in an open discussion about the limited TV series Hijab.
They rock.
Thank everybody, for taking time out of your Saturday to meet up. I know it's not always easy to get everybody together, but definitely appreciate it. And guys, this is Geek Insider. This isn't really an episode of Geek Speak. We have the cast and writer and executive producer and creator of Hijab. And this is a series that is a mini-series or limited series, I guess you would call it, that is on Amazon Prime. And Meredith and I have both viewed it. We have Andrea. She is the star of the limited series. And so we're going to take some time to speak with everybody about it today because personally, as I said, and I'm just going to start it out this way, I told Pam yesterday the speech that Andrea gives, it's about 23 minutes into it, I believe. That should be required viewing for every social studies class across this country.
Yeah.
And I take it, Eric, you're responsible for the writing of that speech, correct?
I am, yes. That was me.
All right, but of course, Andrea, is it Andrea? Am I pronouncing it correctly?
It's Andrea.
Andrea, I'm sorry.
Andrea, there you go.
I don't know if he can.
Right?
Okay. I'll take Andrea.
It's that southern thing. The way you delivered that, I mean, and Pam was kind of surprised yesterday. She said usually, it's the women that are touched more by that part of the movie or the limited series as a whole. And to me, I mean, when I first watched it, just the opening with the silence where there's no conversations going on and seeing the feelings of you. But then when you start talking, girl, you don't hold nothing back. And it was absolutely amazing. What was it like to have that delivery? Did you have to work on that a lot? Were you in the mirror a bunch getting it down right?
Well, to be honest with you, we rehearsed with Eric quite a bit. And when we rehearsed the speech, throughout rehearsal, it was like, a lot of strength, like women power, like very much, very much, working towards that rhythm for that speech. But then when we were on set, on the very first take of the speech, actually, I just got this overwhelming, it's almost like something came over me when I was like delivering that speech, and I was feeling all the pain that these women had been through, and it was really hard for me to be strong in that moment because all the pain that I was feeling, and it was something that I hadn't even experienced throughout my other acting roles or anything else. It was almost like, no, we're gonna speak right now, or you're just gonna be the instrument. It was that kind of very spiritual experience that I had in that moment. So it was very beautiful, and I was like, oh my God, this is why I'm doing this, to just give a voice to people that didn't get a chance to have a voice.
So that was the first take.
That was the very first take, and after Eric was like, cut, I was like, that wasn't me. It was, it was just like
you were in the zone.
Experience.
Yeah, she was in the zone. Definitely in the zone.
She was in the zone.
We didn't take that because nothing could have, topped that take. We were all bawling in the background, I'll tell you.
So were the tears real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't. I didn't fake it.
I mean, what's interesting about it is that after she did it, I walked up to her and I said, you got to do this some more, right? I mean, do you have more in you? It's like, really? But of course, when you're shooting a film, you have to get close-ups and you have to do multiple angles. So she really was a trooper. She says, give me some time. Let me collect myself. And she went right back in. she went right back to it. So it's she's a trooper. She's amazing. She's amazing.
Yeah, one of the things that I found really interesting when I was watching the pilot, I didn't know what to expect. And so when I saw the name Reina Dominguez, and then I was like Muslim, and I was like Hispanic Muslim.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just something that kind of blew my mind. And I know that sounds ignorant, but I mean, really, it just seems like so rare, like I'd never personally heard of it myself. So that combination is, not only are you dealing with a Latina woman, you're dealing with Muslim, with the hijab, so just the visual of it, and just so many things that could possibly go against this woman, know, and with the stereotypes and just everything that goes with that, all the negative connotations, and it really takes effort for people to see the positive in that. So I think this has a really important message for a lot of people to open up their eyes and say, hey, it's more than just this. We're not, as human beings, we're not pigeonholed into anything. So I think that's a really important message that you're putting out there. And I'd really like to hear what, Eric, what your inspiration was to put this story together, what made it kind of come together into this character of Reina Dominguez.
Yes. Well, as you know, as you said, the Spanish Muslim combination is a very rare sect. I mean, you won't find a lot. There's a lot in Europe, like in Spain. There's a ton. That's where she originates from. The character, she's from Spain. So when we visited Spain, I saw there was a lot of Spanish Muslims there. And actually, Spain was conquered by the Moors, which is a very popular Muslim sect in Europe. So anyway, bottom line is, I started the story. It basically was a dream, and then it went from a dream to basically dealing with a terrorist. The original story was about a girl who meets a terrorist on the subway station. That's kind of how it started. And when I first wrote the script, it was really dark. I mean, you think that beginning was dark. It was a really dark script. And basically it had an ending where the original ending was where the terrorist gets on the actual subway and then the subway explodes. So I was like, I passed it over to my wife. I had her read the script, and she was like, "Nah, we ain't doing this." So we're not doing it. Yeah, we're not doing it.
Especially in LA, and we're recording actually on the subway, and I don't think anybody needs to think that we're actually, any inference that there might be a bombing on, no, I think we need to kind of stay away from that right now.
So basically, the nuts and bolts of it were, I went back to the drawing board. And I said to myself, okay, I want to create a character. And at first when you're writing, you don't really know where you're going with the script. And usually what ends up happening is when you write a script, it ends up being about you, of course. And it ends up being about pretty much what you need. And I don't know if that makes any sense. But when you're starting to write, you don't really know if it's going to be something that you need. And so when I started writing, I just wrote from my heart. And I said, this character is interesting. The Spanish Muslim situation is interesting. And I'm going to do a ton of research about Muslims and about Spanish Muslims. I did that. And then she just kind of grew from there. And of course, when you start passing it on to Andrea, then she adds another color to it. You know what I mean? So, but I want everybody to understand that this character is universal. So everything that you see her going through is nothing that much different than what I go through every day as an African American. You know what I mean? I can relate to her in so many different ways. So that's kind of how I see her. and all her strengths and all her stuff that she has to go through is pretty universal, you know. So that's kind of.
And it's very timely right now.
Yeah.
Very.
Like we
And-
need it now.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. So Andrea, when you got the script, was it something that, because I saw a previous interview that you did, and you said basically Eric gave you a phone call and said, I've got a project for you in mind. I mean, do you automatically say yes, or do you like,
Well, as much as I love Eric and we had worked together already, I definitely wanted to read it before I said yes, you know, because I want to be, I want to make sure, like in my gut and my heart, like it feels right, you know, so I can give the best that I can give. If something doesn't feel right, then you're not going to be 100% in the project, or the role's not going to be a good fit for you. Like it needed to feel right for me. And we met and we talked about the character, and I was like, oh my God, this is so interesting. But it's so funny because the first time we met with Eric, there's something that he said that I was like, really, I don't know if I should do this. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember having that thought. I was like, Eric, I'm gonna read the script.
Right. Yeah.
And after because he was, you know, it had so many delicate subjects, you know, like with religion and all this stuff. But after I read it, I was just like, when are we shooting? So it was like yes, for sure.
That was one of the things that I really noticed with it was, you know, I mean, it was just silence in the beginning, and she's blood-soaked. It's like, okay, what happened to her? You know, so you're leading us into this thing. And then there are these, in the pilot episode, these snapshots of all these things that she's going through, you know, with the boyfriend, with the blood-soaked clothes, with, you know, I'm assuming PTSD because, you know, she's having a problem getting onto the train. You know, the father-daughter conflicts and things like that, you know, so these are so many things that we can relate to.
In one day.
And exactly. And so, you know, you're taking us into this story, and then, you know, and then introducing, I think the broader picture where she meets with a woman who's got cancer and can't find her son. And, you know, so I still have yet to understand where that part of the story is going. So there's so much and so many different directions that you could take this in that I'm curious to know what you can tell us without giving everything away.
Right.
Like the direction of it. Like where is she going?
Well, right now, the direction it's kind of going in is that she's going to try to find this. She feels that her character needs to find this guy, the son. And so that's where it's going to kind of start. The next episode is going to start with that. But also on the flip side, she wants to get into law school. I mean, that is so important to her, you know? So those two dynamics are going to be working side by side together at the same time. And one, I would imagine, will feed the other. You know what I'm saying? Like either her position in terms of her finding this guy will solve her need to become a lawyer, or a lawyer, her driving to become a lawyer will solve her need to find this guy. Do you understand? So, so that's kind of that's as much as I can kind of tell you right now. I don't want to give away too much because there's a dynamic between her and her dad, and there's a whole situation that's going on with her dad. Her dad has this whole world that he's dealing with as well. So yeah, that's kind of as much as I can kind of tell you right now. I don't want to give away too much, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now I saw that, you know, it's listed as three episodes, and it on IMDb, I believe that's what it was listed in, 3 episodes, and it really feels like that you're building a world here that could really expand a lot further. And so, first, my first question is when can we expect the next episode? And then is this just, do you have it all wrapped into 3 episodes? That you got the story that you want to tell?
Yeah, it's going to be a 4-episode arc. So basically, it's you were correct. It's going to be a limited series. So everything's going to be wrapped up in 4 episodes. Mm-hmm. So, and then no more, unless somebody demands that they want more. Then of course, I mean, I'll do more. But for right now, I'm not really big on doing the whole episodic thing. I don't know why. I like watching them. I enjoy watching them. But I don't know in terms of writing them and creating them. I'm not a really big fan of it. It's a lot of work. And you have to create these big Bibles, and you have to connect characters to other characters and outside worlds. And you should see, I have this like dry erase board at my job, and I got Rania going here and this going here, and this character connects here. It's a big maze, So it's a lot to do. And I'm kind of a one-man show.
And if I could add to that, he has so many other stories in this head here and on paper. So you have to keep him like this because he's such a great writer. And he's like, oh, I want to do this right here. I'm like, wait, we got to finish this. So that's another reason why, we want to finish it out, because he's got some other really good stories.
So hopefully by the end of we're looking by the end of the year to get going on this.
Good deal. Good deal. And I know.
Go ahead, Matt.
I was just gonna say, I know exactly what you mean, Pam. As a writer, I have the whole bottom of my screen is word or pages, documents that are opened up with different ideas, different things that I'm working on, and I'll have 15 story ideas for Geek Insider, and so I'll pass some off to Meredith and one of our other writers, Alan. Because otherwise, if I don't stay focused, you're right, nothing gets done.
Right.
And so let me segue into that, Eric. Tell us a little bit, or both of you, either one of you, tell us about Enfuego Films and what other projects, or how long has it been around? What other projects have you got? Just give us a little info on that.
Yeah, so I will go way back because I think it's a really good success story. It was just us 14 years ago when literally, well, what I want to say is when I met him, he told me he was an actor and he was a writer. And when I looked at his stuff and I looked at some of the projects he did, I was like, what? That's you? Because he's such a sweet, nice guy. And I couldn't believe these scripts that he had. So we actually started our first project, which was Sleepwalking.
It was 2009.
2009. So like 10 years ago. And then it was just him and I, and then the next project, there was like maybe 4 or 5 people. And then each project, it got bigger. And we incorporated, I want to say, Enfuego Entertainment probably 7-ish years ago, something like that. I mean, we really literally became an official corporation, and we run it very professionally. But I got to say, we work with amazing people. It's for us, when we're casting people, whoever's working with us, it's about the person. They have to be good people, because we're all about relationships. And that's the only reason we've been able to continue this on, is just, finding people and telling them this is a passion for us. It's a passion project, and people just, we'll work with you, kind of thing. And years after years, like Andrea, we met her several years ago, and she's been on several, she was in Above Ground on every episode, and we just try to find things where we can include her because we've developed this relationship. She's just this amazing actress.
Yeah, I remember her first audition was really funny. I don't want to segue from it, but her first audition, when she came in and auditioned for us.
Wait, does she want to know? Does she want everybody to know about that?
We had this open, it wasn't an open call. We called in a few people, but it was kind of an open call for Above Ground. And we were seeing all these actresses, and just couldn't get the right person. And she was basically reading for a character that was strung out on drugs, was kind of struggling with her sexuality, and was kind of confused about where she was in life. And so I don't know what she did prior to the audition, but when she came in, I don't know what was going on with you when you came. Do you remember?
Well, did you mess up your hair and kind of?
I just remember rehearsing that audition. I was like, it was one of those auditions that I was just like, I'm just gonna go in there and give them love, like you. I just wanted to give you like a lot. I don't know why.
Right.
That's how I felt.
It was a done deal. We saw her. It was locked. We looked at each other like, okay, that's it.
Yeah, because
No
I was
more.
like, she was just on point with every beat. And when she walked out the room, my wife is an amazing casting person, and she basically said,
Locked, done.
"That's her. That's the girl." But anyway, yeah. So let me just tell you, I don't want to get too off, but the origin of this company started with a conversation in a pool in Palm Springs.
I love this story.
And I was a writer. You know, here's my quotes.
This is probably like,
Aren't we all?
I was an actor, writer, and I was writing all these scripts, right? And we were in the pool and we were just chatting, and I go, you know, honey, I got all these scripts. You know, I really want to do something with them. And she goes, okay, I'm tired of this shit. Okay? Women empowerment, okay? This is women empowerment at its best. So she says to me, okay, is this a hobby or a career? And I said, I didn't have an answer. I didn't know it.
Wow.
And she goes, okay, if it's going to be a hobby, then it's a hobby. But if it's a career, get it going.
it's a business.
It's a business.
real
Like,
business.
make it real. Make this real.
It's like pretend.
Yeah.
No,
Don't
let's
talk
just
no
do
more.
it.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
just
yeah,
do
yeah.
it. Stop talking about it. Let's just fucking do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So as soon as I keep thinking about that in my head all the time. So as soon as she said that to me, I got it done. I mean, I finished the script. Next thing you know, we were in production, we were shooting, and it was over. And I haven't looked back since. So I'm going to be honest with you. This lady is my engine. She keeps my engine going. She starts it. The engine's always moving. She's always moving. I don't really know what I would do. This company wouldn't really exist
It's a team.
at its best without this one. So I'm a very creative mind, but she is the backbone. Okay, so that's Enfuego Entertainment. That's Enfuego Entertainment.
What is
I
it?
will say something. Working with them, they are a powerhouse together. You know, like Eric is an amazing creative person, and he's like the art of the family. But without Pam's engine, I probably wouldn't like.
Right.
Pam is a powerhouse. Like we're gonna get this done now, and it's happening, and it's like, and we need somebody like that on set and in their lives.
I drive you crazy sometimes, Andrea, right?
But he gets it done, and we need that person all the time. Like, and no, like you were like that mama bear on set. You know what I mean? Like, it's amazing. You guys are great.
I mean,
Thank you.
so by doing this since 2009, being together however long, even before that possibly, that dynamic of working with a partner is very difficult. I've worked with my husband, you know, in various businesses, and it's very funny. And I want to ask you two, when you're on set and everything, do you feel like you miss your spouse, even though you're right there?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, we can both talk. You know, in the beginning, it was a challenge because I'm like an A-type personality, and he doesn't like to admit it. But when it comes to when we are on set, he's an A-type personality too. Okay. We realize that we're in it, right?
Yeah.
And then we realize, okay, wait. The next time, okay, these are your roles here. These are your roles here. And each time we've gone into production, we really had to remind ourselves, okay, you stay into your creative side, and this is my lane. And we've learned over the years that as long as we stay like that, we're good. But we like to be loving. We have a lot of respect for each other. We just have to remember, like I have to remember not to, because I'm like, well, wait, Eric, shouldn't the camera be over there? Because look at that. Because I'm like a creative person too. I hate to say I am. And but I got to let Eric be Eric. And unless he comes to me and says, what do you think about that, Pam? You know, I kind of have to like say, okay, this is my plays. I do like set design, wardrobe, casting, work with the crew. I'm behind the scenes, below the line. So that, if that answers your question, we've learned, and it gets better and better. Plus, I want to add, as we've grown, we actually hire people to do a lot of the stuff that just, we were doing by ourselves, and that works a lot better too, because then those people, we know are not going to go into Eric, side. So that's helped kind of separate us. But I think generally we get along really well. We have our moments behind the scenes. We try to keep it very private. If there's ever any question, we walk away by ourselves. We're not one of those couples that, you're going to see something like that, because we don't really believe in that.
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard to shut that off when you're home, so because you're with each other pretty much all day long, and then you go home and it's just like, you have to shut that off, and then all of a sudden you're a couple, not just, knowing your lane and having your roles and things like that. So that's got to be, I mean, like my husband, he's the one who's kind of, he kind of is the dreamer, and I'm the more organized, but I have my creative side too, but I'm the one that kind of, I have to bring him back down,
Right.
And so that helps us keep balance, I think.
For sure.
But I did want to get back to Andrea and the character of Raina. I kind of want to know how you channeled her, and the process of, was it uncomfortable for you to learn how to put on the hijab and really fully embrace that character?
It was a whole process. It was a journey. So Rania, she, on rehearsals with Eric at the beginning, running lines here and there, and then, but when Eric, the first time that he brought a hijab to one of the rehearsals, and I put it on, and I looked at myself in the mirror, it was a pretty important moment for me to feel her. I felt very different. My energy felt different. That was like the first moment where I really felt her, and I seeing her on me. So that was like one of the first steps of the journey. But it was all like little by little, like things were coming in throughout. Because when people ask me about this, like, how's my creative, like, how do I do it? And I don't have like a one, like, oh, check one, check two, it's all very creative. So I just let it come when it comes, kind of thing, I don't pressure it. I kind of just perceive when it's the right time.
So when you are doing these scenes with the conflict with your father, standing in front of a group, and even walking down and just feeling the sense that I got watching that was just the weight of the world and a sense of disconnectedness, when you have the blood-soaked clothes. I mean, when it comes to a creative spirit like you, where you're trying to emote this for the screen, that has to be pulled from somewhere. And obviously, I'm going to assume that you haven't been in a subway bombing, and I'm hoping that you have a healthy relationship with your dad. So, like these emotions and these situations, where does this well of emotion come from that you can express that so well?
Well, besides doing a lot of research within the Muslim community and like the bombing and all that stuff, so when you do a lot of research, you kind of like, as an artist, your heart has to be pretty open, with empathy and compassion and no judgment whatsoever of any kind. So you kind of get in the door like that, opening the heart that way. But at the same time, I'm a human being. I have my own personal things that I was able to connect to. I absolutely love my dad and everything. And we, I am his favorite daughter.
I say that too.
No, but I've had my struggles with him, you know, him not believing in me as an artist at the beginning of my career, and like him not wanting me to do this, you know, like, so I was able to connect some stuff, you know, when it came to our family relationships, you know, and yeah, like another, like a regular human being, I've had my own. So I had Andrea, I had Rania, and I was able to merge some stuff, and I was also able to pull from other stuff that I've done research and make it like a whole painting, you know, together and present Rania. So that's kind of what I did.
Did you get any pushback from the Muslim community when you were doing your research? Because I know that. Did you have pushback from the Muslim community? Did they were they kind of standoffish at first? Because, you know, again, there are a lot of stereotypes that are out there in the world, and so somebody coming in asking all these questions, you know, I don't know how well that might be received. How was your experience with that?
I didn't have any negative experience, to be honest with you. If anything, people are very like, they want to share their story. They want to share their own experiences. I did a lot of research online too. Women that have been through stuff, women with hijabs talking about their experiences, and I had a couple personal ones, but nobody that rejected me. They're very loving and kind, and you know, I didn't have no negative experiences, luckily. You know.
Excellent. Pam, I did have a question for you. Now that I know that you did some set design and wardrobe, and it was just one of those things where I was watching and I'm taking notes and everything so that I was prepared to talk to you guys. And I noticed some play on color, and I don't know if that was purposeful. And so I kind of wanted to get into your brain, because I noticed that there were a lot of blues when she was kind of dreamlike state or sadness or strife. I saw other colors too, red for anxiety and things like that. And I wanted to know, am I seeing things, or was that something that you did on purpose?
You see this color right here?
Uh-huh.
Well, Eric, I have to say the blue, he wanted that's his, not this is his favorite color, but he wanted blue, you know, and all shades of blue. I'm going to let him explain the blue, because that was a very unique part of Rania.
Well,
and if you, go ahead.
I'm sorry. So the color scheming is intentional, and I passed it on through to her. If you noticed in the film, and these are little nuggets for me, I don't even know if anybody else would pick them up, and that's awesome that you picked up on that.
Very good.
Rania's colors are the American flag. That was my intention. The scarf is blue. You notice in the film she's wearing a white top with stripes. Okay. We tried to incorporate red a lot because that's part of the flag. That's part of America. That's Americana. Yes, it does represent anxiety. And so I wanted to try to, and if you notice in the speech, we made sure that the American flag was in the speech the whole entire time. So I was trying to make a statement about America and her trying to survive in this country, and her trying to, you know, basically navigate her way through it all. So yes, those were definitely on purpose.
See the poster behind us? I don't know if you can see it right here.
Oh yeah.
The red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
So as a costume person, a wardrobe person, you know, the writer has a certain thing in mind, and then you have to come up with all this stuff that he sees, right? So because we live together, it's a really good communication. And so a lot of stuff is so funny that Andrea wears are my clothes. And almost everything we do, because we're kind of like the same size, it's so funny. Yeah. So, but I definitely, when I'm going shopping, it comes from his vision, and then I just get a bunch of stuff, and then we put it out there and go, okay, is this kind of like what you had in mind when it comes to clothes? And then other things, because I'm into color and I love clothes too, you know. Of course, other characters, if it's not that main color, then that's where, my forte comes in, with the other stuff. So it's really fun for me. I love doing that part. I love, in the beginning days, I always did all the sets and all that. Now we actually have people that help with all that. But I actually like that part. I like color, and I like, the way it looks on the screen, like behind us, you see a bunch of colors that just everything pops.
I had Andrea, I had a question for you with, and I don't know all the ones that you've gotten, but I know that there's been quite a few accolades for Hijab. There's different awards. You've been recognized at different film events. How has that been for you as an actress?
It's really truly been a gift. Like when you work on a project, you have fun and you give your best, but at least me, I didn't really think about the outcome or like where was this gonna go. I just enjoy, first of all, working with Eric and Pam. They're like my family now. Like they're like she was saying, it's relationships, and when you work with people that you love, it's just makes it fun. You're just enjoying the journey, So the outcome never even crossed my mind. And it's so funny because in one of the films, one of my really great friends, who's a beautiful working actor, he won Best Actor, and I won Best Actress. And just to be in the same category with him, somebody that I truly respect as an actor and is truly an amazing friend, it was just a beautiful experience. And the other awards were great. So I'm super, super humble and grateful to have received that. But the true gift is to do the work, That's the
Andrea.
Like I said at the beginning of this, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. I just wanted to tell about when you went home and how you were acknowledged when you went back home. It was like after we filmed Hijab and you went back home and you were recognized. Can you explain about that?
Yeah, I went back home to El Salvador. That's where I grew up. And a couple, which was very unexpected. I was just there to see my family and to have some, vacation time. And a couple of, two national newspapers reached out to me that they wanted to interview me. And then they actually, both articles came out on the same day. And so I was all over the country for a day. They did this two huge, each newspaper, they had these two huge pages on me, and it was just such an honor because I didn't expect that, you as an artist, you go through your journey and you start doing things here and there, and but then out of nowhere, you didn't realize that, I've been doing a lot of work actually, And so they were talking about Hijab, and they just interviewed me about Hijab and working with Eric, and when can they see it, because they hadn't come out in Amazon at the time yet. So it was just beautiful to be able to be recognized by your own country, your people, and at the same time, if I can inspire a young girl in El Salvador that's starting her journey as an artist, why not? Let's do it. Come here. Let's go.
And Eric, same question for you, sir. I've been a wannabe writer all my life now. I'm doing.
You're a writer.
Well, yeah, I am a writer. It pays the bills. But for you, how did it feel, man, to have your work being recognized in all of these places, and to have someone so talented as her to bring that to life?
It was kind of surreal. Let's be honest with you, it was surreal. As she said, I write so my stuff can be heard, and it's a need. I feel like I just want people to get a message, and so to be recognized is beyond it's beyond reward,
Right.
And so and to see her recognized is even more of a thrill, because my life goal, and this is how I approach the work, is to supply work for those who don't necessarily have an opportunity to get work, and put them on a pedestal so they may learn through the work, okay, who and what they are so they can discover something new about their lives. That is my life lesson. That's how I approach the work. So so when I approach it, yes, I approach it creatively, but I'm also in it for others to win it. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so.
That's a very giving spirit that you
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, and that keeps me humble.
does.
Yeah, it keeps me humble. So to have her come in and get that accolade, and I'm still going to help her. I don't care what. I'm still going to help her. I'm still going to drive for her. I'm her biggest fan. I have another actor that I work with a lot. I'm his biggest fan as well. And so yeah, I'm going to keep on helping these actors because here's the thing, and I'll make this short. When I was an actor, I always wished or hoped that I had someone who had my back, who was creative, and who would write something for me, and who would approach me with something like, "Hey, I wrote this script with you in mind." That never happened to me. So I said to myself, if I ever become a person of power who has the ability to help someone, I'm going to do it because I wanted someone to do that for me.
Right.
So this is a lifelong thing. It will never stop. I don't care what level I get at. I will keep going. I will never stop because I think these stories need to be told. And that's what you need to think about too. That's your approach when you come to writing is think, who am I? Who can I touch today?
Right.
If it's one person, that's all that matters. If it's one person, and I always think in short about when I was 7 years old and I would look up that big screen and I was going, wow, look at that world, So that filmmaker had no idea who I was, but he touched me, right? So that's kind of how I approach things. So that's a long answer. Very, yeah, that's okay.
It's a great answer. Great answer. And guys, I don't know. Well, Eric, do you have, other than the episode 2 hopefully coming towards the end of the year, is there anything else that Enfuego Films has on tap right now? Or you guys got anything in the works?
Well, I have a couple of things that are boiling, that are on the pot, but I don't really want to talk about them right now because I'm still working on them. So, but yeah, I do. I have 2 projects that I've been working on for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but I kind of want to get Hijab off the ground.
Right.
But these 2 things are they're both, one's a feature and another one's a TV show. So.
Well, we definitely want you to get Hijab off as well because you hooked us in with this pilot, man, and now you're telling us we got to wait a while. This is.
I know.
Hey, Andrea, what about you? What are your next steps?
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
You beat me to it, man.
We'll see what the universe says. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm working on stuff myself. I'm gonna start into writing classes, which I really, Eric has inspired me actually.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
but yeah, right now, like I just signed with a new agent, thanks to Eric actually. Yeah, just little things that have been happening here and there. I'm still auditioning a lot, and we'll see what comes next.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we want to go ahead and wrap this up. Pam, you guys still want to stay on and meet with us and Meredith after this, like we had discussed about your other projects?
I was thinking maybe we could do it next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I did want to finish up with saying, so if you were to give our audience one word of advice, a favorite quote, or something that can inspire them to get to the next level, what would that be? Andrea, you go first.
As cliche as it sounds, always follow your gut and your heart. Lead your life with love and not fear. Fear is overrated and not real anyway. And just have fun with what you're doing. Enjoy life. Life's too short to not do what you love.
I agree. Eric, how about you?
Follow your bliss. You know, whatever that bliss is. And don't be afraid to listen to your instincts. They are a very powerful message. Your instincts don't lie. And don't listen to your brain, listen to your heart. Because your heart never lies. Your heart always knows what's the truth. It always knows the truth. But what happens is our brain ignores our heart. You know, our brain says something different than the heart says. So we listen to the brain, but the heart is the truth. So I try to do my best by listening to my heart. So, don't just follow your bliss and listen to your heart. That's what I got.
Pam, how about you?
Well, pretty much everyone that knows me is my saying is never give up. I've been saying that since I was a little kid. And whatever it takes, there's always a way. There is always a way. And it doesn't have to be the way other people do it. You know, oh, they don't do that. I'm like, I don't care that nobody does it that way. We're going to do it this way or whatever it takes. Just never give up. And the other thing that I live my life by, it's very similar to Eric, is it's about helping people. And the feeling that you get when you help people is what life is about. So if you have a passion, never give up. And the cherry on top is when you've helped somebody else.
So you can help someone with your passion? Oh my God. Woo! That's amazing.
You know, and you all three had some really, really strong, great messages there. And you can tell that you have all been inspired by each other, been especially the time working together. But you guys are a powerhouse together, in my opinion. Eric and Pam, and then of course Andrea, with you coming in, y'all created magic with this, in my opinion. And again, I can't wait to see the next one. Some of the things that y'all said today, and Meredith knows what I'm talking about, it kind of hit special with me today. But I really, really appreciate y'all's time. And any time that you guys, Andrea, or either one of you, Eric, Pam, y'all got anything going on, reach out to us, please, because we're fans and we're here anytime that you guys have anything you want to talk about.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.